Ask Steve, Mule and Donkey questions. We're going to get you some answers today. My name's Dave. This here is Steve Edwards. And typically every Wednesday we get together, and last week we did too, but we had some technical difficulties. If y'all have been trying to purchase a car, you know that a lot of the cars that you want with all of the model and the detail and all these things, they're not available in stock. And so the second the dealership calls you, you got to get down there before someone else snatches it up. So that's where I was last week, and I was hustling as fast as I can to get to the office, and the office I went to had bad tech, bad internet. And so we only talked for about 15, 20 minutes, real talk. So we're chomping at the bit to make this week happen. My name's Dave, and this is Steve. And Steve, how are things going out there in Queen Valley?
We got 41/100ths of an inch of rain so far, and it's still raining. We're happy.
We'll take it. It's been nice out here. I think 2 Wednesdays ago it was pretty overcast as well. So we'll or maybe last week. Was it overcast last week? I feel like it was.
I don't know. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast.
All right, we won't put you under the microscope there. Hey, well, anyways, folks, like I said, we get together every single week, talk about mules and donkeys, and here's what you need to know. If this is your first time ever joining us, welcome. So glad that you're here. So glad that you're spending a little bit of time with us, and we want to know that you're here. Would you please take a minute and put your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather's like in the comment section? That just lets us know, hey, you're here. We can say hello, acknowledge you by name, and it sure would be good to hear from you. The second thing that we ask is that you ask any and every mule question that you've got. And so you might be thinking, oh man, they've probably talked about this already. Or you might be thinking, yeah, I don't know, that's a little bit too basic of a question. I don't want to waste people's time. Nonsense. If we've already talked about it, we're more than happy to talk about it again, because chances are there's another person listening for the first time live or watching on the replay who wants to know or will need to know. And the second thing is no question too basic. Matter of fact, for about the first 6 or 7 years of hanging out with Steve, all of my questions were 100% basic, and they're still pretty much basic. I have a little bit more knowledge now. Still working on the understanding, but we'll do what we can to make sure you get the answers that you need so you can get out there and get results. And then the third thing that we ask is that if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. If you are watching on Facebook, please like the video, like the live stream, and go ahead and comment in the comment section, tagging a friend or family member. That's really it. That's all we ask. Everything's pretty, light, easy, simple here. Not a whole lot that you want to complicate when it comes to the mule and the donkey and this way of life. So we'll keep it nice and simple as possible. So Steve, what do you say we say hello to a few of the folks hanging out with us so far?
Yes, sirree. Let's fire it up.
All right, fire it up. The man said it, so we'll do it. Candy is hanging out with here. Is the webinar on bits still available? Candy, send a message to support@muleranch.com. I'll get you taken care of. Levi is watching. Hey, Steve, how about this? Right off the bat, we've gone international. Albert County, New Brunswick, Canada. Warm winter day, but the rain's coming. Gonna haul some wood with my mule named Tractor when it clears up tomorrow. Candy is watching from Indiana. Cold day. Julie is here from Appling, Georgia. Beautiful and sunny here in 77 degrees. Ernest is watching from northern Arizona. Good to have you here, Ernest, holding down the northern parts of this wonderful state. Laura is watching from Paris, Texas. Icy conditions, which means stay safe, Laura. Linda is here, says watching from central Pennsylvania with snow. Behave to mules. Yeah, tell those. Wait, is she talking to us? Is she telling us to behave? I wouldn't doubt it. Myra is watching. Greetings from cold, windy Southern California. Thanks for keeping your podcast going. You got it, Myra. Julie has our first question of the day. This is Julie from Appling, Georgia. Says, do you train a donkey the same as you would train a mule?
Yes, 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 and yes. Okay, remember, when you're training a mule, you have a horse, the mule, and the donkey. But the donkey is the brains of the outfit, all right? So, yes, the idea is always to build a foundation. When you hear me say to you, 3, 6, 9, 12, and don't train every day. Training is building a foundation. What's a foundation? Foundation is put a halter on, drop your head. Number 1. Number 2, tip your head to the left. Okay, hear that? Number 1, drop the head. Number 2, trip the nose to the left. That's a foundation. I do not put the halter on until that foundation is solid. I don't put the halter on when they got their head over here, or when they got their head over here, or even if they just got it right here. Got the idea? Foundation says when we put the halter on, it's going to do in these steps. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Step 1, drop the head down. Step 2, tip the nose left. Why drop the head down? Drop the head down. It loosens all 5 major neck muscles. One across the crest of the neck, one down through the middle of the neck, the one along the esophagus. Hear that? And 2 along the shoulder. Now, when we drop the head, that puts them in submission. They're relaxed, folks. They are saying to you, I am happy with what's going on. When the head is in the air, I don't understand the question, and I am really upset, and I need my questions answered. That's what they're saying, folks. But I want to put your halter on so I can go riding. No, 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 and no. Why do that to your mule? Why do that to your donkey? Why? Anyway, got the idea? The idea is communicate. Communicate. Now, heads down, 5 major neck muscles. Nose tip to the left. What's that? Left eye. Left brain. Now, remember, they have 2 brains. One on the left, one on the right. So left brain is thinking about me. Right brain's going, I don't know what's going on. Ain't nothing going over here for I know. But the left brain goes, hey, man, look at here. Look at that big, strong, good-looking guy called Steve. No, just kidding. Got the idea? Then what happens is the head, that's number 3 now, the head must stay here. You don't have to hold it here. It must stay here. Stay here. That's those 3. All right. Now, what do we do to keep it head down, nose tip to the left? Every time the nose goes back to the right, I touch it over here. Makes it uncomfortable for the donkey, for the mule. Okay? So every time he comes over, bump him. He goes, oh, wait a minute. Every time my head comes over here, I get bumped. But if I keep it here, I get to be comfortable. Remember their life? Comfortable, uncomfortable. Ask, tell, demand. You get that from the herd leader. That's you. You must be, it's imperative to be the herd leader. Now, where did I get a lot of this information? Yes, a lot of mules. But yes, good old smart donkey. So yes, everything you see me do and say about the mule, you can use on your donkey. And you can use it on your horse. Just pretend their ears are longer. Hey, Dave, where'd you go?
I'm here. Hey, don't fear. I'm here. Got lots of buttons I'm trying to push. So, awesome. Great question. What's that?
I know. You got tons of buttons.
I got lots of... You know what? I've got an entire thing filled with buttons that I just push. It's not hooked up right now, but I use this for a lot of what we do on the broadcast. So, lots of buttons to push. My kids know how to push my buttons too. Hey, y'all want some come along coffee? Be sure you hang around till the very end. Very, very end. Hang around. Great question, Julie. Appreciate it. Myra's here from greeting us from cold, windy Southern California. Sherman Johnson, Norman, Oklahoma, 15 degrees and snowing. Glad you're here, Sherman. Edie is watching, says, I enjoy your conversation. Well, we will keep it going, Edie. I need you to tell my wife that. I think she might take me a little bit for granted there. That's not true. Carla is watching from northern British Columbia. That's taking us international again. It's a -4 there. Got my mule riders Martingale, and it's awesome. Hey, it's worth going out there and braving that -4, Carla. Enjoy it. Hey, Steve, real quick. I know that we're out of trail rider bit. Now, the trail riding bit is a finished bit, and a lot of folks will just go straight to the trail riding bit. But that's not what you advise they do. You have something that comes before that. Will you talk real quick for folks who are looking at, hey, I need to get me the trail riding bit? They might not want to go straight to there, and it might not be a big deal that we've had a hard time getting them in because the Mule Rider's Martingale. Tell them what that offers.
All right, now, folks, we have to think that the head is different on the mule compared to the horse. When you look at the mule, what head do you see? Donkey. Yes, the long, beautiful ears, but the palate is different. And you got to remember, too, I keep saying, why are you doing that? Donkey, why are you doing that? Mule, wait a minute. This isn't like what I'm used to messing with the horses. So I just kept on thinking. What's going on? When I put the snaffle bit in the mouth, why do I get a mule or a donkey that does this? When I put the finish bit in the mouth, why do I get a mule or a donkey that does that? You see? Why is it different when I take this bit and put in the mouth and this bit and put in the mouth? All right? Why is it different? Let's take the port that goes on the roof of the mouth that has tongue relief. When I look at all the cajillion bits that I have, y'all, I mean, I got a lot of bits that I've tried over the years. I've had custom-made bits. I bought them right off of the wall, like you all have. I found them in places, and I've had old cowboys give them to me. I have a lot of bits. But I kept trying to think, why is the mule's head elevating? Why is the mule's mouth opening? Why does the donkey get his tongue all over the place? Why can't I stop? Got the idea? So I kept looking at the bits, trying to figure, moving the bit up and down, changing the bridle. Yes, the bridle helps make the bit hang in the right place. Oh, but Steve, I got this bridle with all the bling. It don't make diddly to that donkey or mule. No, the bling is good for you. Yeah, okay, yeah, I got the bling. But the donkey is unhappy. The mule is unhappy. But I got my bling. I don't want to short y'all. I understand, okay? But listen to the mule. Listen. What'd he say? I'm unhappy. I don't understand. Why is this thing going in my mouth again when I already showed you I'm not doing very good? Okay, listen. Majority of the bits come off of those walls are for the palate of a horse. Palate of a horse. Get that in your head. That's why I took the port of my finished bit, which looks like this, and I tipped it back. Now I'm overemphasizing it. But instead of being straight up and down, I tipped it back. Back toward the back of the mouth. So I tipped it back. And when I did that, it takes a little bit longer when I pick up on the reins, which communicates to the shank of the bit. That's the part that hangs down, that the reins hang onto. That's the shank. And it communicated to the shank. And then as I picked up on the reins, the shank moved. The corners of the mouth were communicated to. The bars of the mouth were communicated to with the bit moving. And then the roof of the mouth. The roof, okay? So as that bit is in the roof of the mouth, as it moves back and forth, it's whisking the top of the palate. See that? I'm overemphasizing because it really just barely moves. But instead of being straight up and down, I tipped it back. I'm overemphasizing, so not as much. Then when I did that, the mule's head dropped, the donkey's head dropped, and I had a happy donkey or mule. See, I had to keep trying these things. I wanted my mule donkey to be happy. Not only that, the owner of that mule or donkey that I was training for, I needed them to be happy. You understand? But number one, I want the happy owner, but I want more than anything else a happy mule. Because here's the deal. When the owner calls me up, which will happen, they say, my donkey is doing this now. My mule is doing this now. He didn't do that before. Well, yeah, because before I was riding you. Now you're riding you. Now you're communicating different. And now you're using your bit when you should have used mine. And your hands are different. The bridle's different. Do you understand? And yes, it's the bridle and the bit has a lot to do with it. But more than anything else, it is your hands. Your hands. It's how you communicate through your hands. That's why I tell everybody. And Levi, by the way, Dave, Levi's out there. And remember the picture of the mule I sent you with the come-along hitch? I got to tell you all that is extremely important. Levi wanted us to talk about this last week, but we had the poor communication. But we're going to have it now, Levi, because, folks, Levi is doing what I have been trying to get you all to understand for quite a while. And we're going to see it. Now, we got an up-and-coming clinic, which we'll talk about a little later. But you are going to see a whole different atmosphere than what I have. I've always focused on the come-along hitch, but nothing like I have now. Because one of the biggest problems, folks, with these mules and donkeys is me. You. That's the biggest problem. They're just fine until you open the gate. They're just fine until I open the gate. You hear that? So we have to get it communicated that you know how to make them comfortable and uncomfortable. You know how to make them learn how to ask, tell, demand. And you need to show them 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay? So you got that picture of Levi. Oh, man.
Is that it?
That's it. All right. Now, folks, Levi, I think Levi, answer up. I think you're out there listening to me right now. Folks, you see this mule? 4 months ago, this mule has never been touched. Do you hear the words? Never been touched. Oh, my favorite words. My favorite words. Never been touched. I can get more out of an untouched mule than I can one where somebody else has already touched. Why is that? Because the folks were using a lot of horse techniques, a lot of their knowledge, okay, and they were using those techniques, and now you've got to go through all of those bad techniques and all those fair techniques and all those lousy techniques to get to where you got the clear mind, where this mule has got a clear mind. There's no garbage there. It's easy to deal with. Now, somebody may have chased him. Somebody could have roped him. I don't know. Levi hasn't told me that. But folks, I want you to see. Remember I told you, teach your mule to stand still and quiet, and everything else will start falling into place. This is basics. This is foundation, folks. Every mule is riding should be doing this. If you cannot do that with your mule, you shouldn't be on him. I'm telling you, folks, it's that important. Dave and I have told you, it's not important you get the saddle or the bridle or any other stuff. It is getting the ground communication solid. Anybody can climb and ride on a mule and make them look pretty decent. Even me, okay? Anybody can make them look pretty decent. I was watching a video, and folks, I don't mind. Do this for me. Do this for you. If you're getting ready to buy a mule, send me a picture. Send me a picture. Susan, are you here? Oh, there she is. I just see my dog walk by, so I thought, why is my dog walking by? Oh, my wife's out there taking him for a little walk. Okay, so let's go on. Let's go back to this, folks. They sent me a picture of a mule they get ready to spend $8,000 for. Fair enough price. I'll go along with that. You know, I sold them for 20 years ago for $3,500, and people thought that was a lot of money. Let's go back. So I said, send me some pictures. Send me some videos of this $8,000 mule for his wife. To get that in your mind. His wife is kind of a novice rider, and he's been riding about 20-some years, but let's go on. When I saw this guy riding this mule in the round pen, in a snaffle bit, and by the way, folks, at $8,000, that mule should be riding off your legs. You should barely move your hands. He was doing everything he can to make that mule look good. I understand. Okay, but let's go back. This mule had very little to no training on it. Other problem that we had, it's got this horse saddle sitting on top of the scapula. Now here's a picture of hound dogs running all around. Hound dogs running, all right? So he's on the side of a mountain, and here's a close-up of this picture. I know y'all getting ready, you know what I'm getting ready to say. The saddle was on top of the scapula. I mean, not just a little part of it, a good quarter of it was sitting on top of the scapula. Now, that's almost 250 pounds on the scapula. Listen to that. What are you doing? You're buying somebody else's problems. Oh, but look, he's a lion hunting dog or mule. He likes dogs. Look at him going around all these dogs, you know. Oh, man. And look, you know, he's chasing this lion. Man, he's well broke. No. The guy's a good rider. Get that in your mind, okay? Get that in your mind. The guy's a good rider. So let's go on. That's the pictures I saw. And I don't mind you send me pictures. Hey, Steve, I need help buying this mule. I'd be happy to do it. I just saved this man, and more than anything else, I saved his wife a lot of heartache because she'd have got on this mule and had all kinds of problems. Price don't mean diddly, folks. Now, would I train a mule today for $8,000, ride it for a year, and buy it, and vet it, and feed it for a year? Would you work for $8,000 for a mule? Most of you would not, okay? That means maybe for the year, you might make maybe $3,000 for working a whole year. None of you work for $3,000 for a year. 30,000, maybe 60,000. Let's go on, you know. Foundation, folks, means everything, but it starts right here at Levi. Look here. Look at this mule. This is on the ground. This mule has not been touched. And notice nobody is holding on to the lead rope. All right, now let's look at some more. Look, where's the head? It should be down a little bit more, but where's the nose? Notice, especially in the picture to the right, notice how the head is coming down, and notice the nose is on the vertical. Do you see that? Now, when he got closer, see, I could see he got closer because now you can see the butts of these great big, I think those are Percheron horses probably. But Levi, you can tell me. I didn't see these horses in the first picture. I seen the horses in the stalls, but I didn't see what they were. Now I see. Now, folks, look at this. All those horses right there, and that mule is still standing still and quiet. Why is that? Because the mule respects the come-along hitch. Why is that? Because the come-along hitch is communicating to the nose. Why is that? Because when Levi used the come-along hitch, he obviously is following some basic, I hear that, basic instruction. When Levi, or when any of you, get this in your mind, when any of you learn to pick up a lead rope and move the animal around, but most of all, get the animal to stand still, you can go ride. Yeah, folks. Have I seen a lot of people hurt? Yeah, I've been there. 32 broken bones and 2 replaced hips. Been there. Do I hear stories all the time of people being hurt? All the time, and you have too. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back. That come along rope is the most important tool you could get to communicate. And using the video that comes with it, which used to be called Problem Mule Building a New Foundation, which the mule was a problem. But what was his problem? Sorry groundwork. The guy that I was working with there had put the mule behind a pickup truck to teach him to lead. Can you imagine? You could lead that mule right there with a piece of baling twine. You should be able to. Do you ever see on any of these old cowboy movies where real cowboys train these movie stars? You hear that? Real cowboys. When you watch those guys on Grit, the guys that taught them were the real thing. When you see Ben Johnson ride, Ben Johnson was a real cowboy. Real guy. He lived right here in Mesa. Used to see him all the time in the restaurant. Great guy. But he was the real thing. He wasn't just an actor or a star. But the real thing taught those guys on the TV that you've seen in the movies and stuff, taught them how to get on and off, and taught them how to ride. Did you notice? Every time you guys go watch Grit with me, you'll watch all kinds of good movies, all right? Real stuff, real things. But watch them. When they go up, do they take their bridle off, put their halter on? Nope. Why is that? That horse has so much respect for the slightest touch on that rein. Hear that rein now? Slightest touch on that rein that he knows not to pull against him. Yeah. Hey, Dave, I'm getting on some pretty big horses today.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes we just wind them up and let them go. Y'all know that. Enough folks have been hanging out here. Hey, if this is your first time hanging out with us, we just get together on Wednesdays, talk about mules and donkeys. We'd love to hear from you. Go ahead, put your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather's like in the comments section. And I'd like to say hello to you. Steve and I would like to say hello. If you got any mule questions, now's the time to put them in the comments section. And fill up your cup with Come Along Coffee. If you don't got your Come Along Coffee, I'll put a link in the comment section so y'all can get it from Coffee by David. And make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, like the video on Facebook. We've got Ernest, says Northern Arizona got some snow. Eddie is watching from Texas, Panhandle, 20 degrees. Polly's here from Barnesville, Minnesota. We got Ty from Oklahoma, where it's ice and snow. Billy says, hello, gentlemen. Watching from Toronto International again. Hey, there's David Pengelly right there, the coffee man himself. Let me see if I got the link here. Come along.
I got the coffee.
You got the coffee. Come along coffee. Let me get you the link, y'all. Y'all got to order your Come Along Coffee here. Mule Ranch comes in 3 roasts: ask, tell, and demand, and goes from lighter to darker. I guess there you go. Let's see here. I'll put a link in the comments section. Good to have you here, David. I got my coffee, David. Thank you very much. Cheers. Jack is watching from Johannesburg. Watching 10 degrees and dropping. John is watching from Utah, Springville, Utah, 25 degrees and snowing. Fiery Waco is here from Waukwall County, just as icy as Paris, Texas, I'll bet. Judy's watching from Ubley, Michigan, 16 degrees with freezing rain during the night. David is here. Hey, David, thanks for your messages this week and last week. East Texas is under a winter storm watch for tonight at 26 degrees. Great to see you. You're not going to be out there riding in the middle of that, David. Stay safe. Sharon is watching. My mule was 25 when I got her. Any way to break bad habits?
21 years of bad habits. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Not a matter of breaking. Folks, get that word out of your mind, okay? How about changing their mind? How about giving them a different direction, okay? Now, what kind of bad habits? 25 years old. I'm sure that the mule has been around a few people, and guess where they got the bad habits? Yep, people, because what's their life? Comfortable, uncomfortable. What's their life? Ask, tell the man. What's their life? My corral needs to be clean. What are you doing in here wanting to go riding? Isn't the feeding time about now? Oh, my breakfast is at 9 o'clock and you're late. Oh, my dinner. I have been calling and calling you for my dinner. Why don't I have it? What do you mean you want to go riding? It's dinner time. Okay. Do they have us well trained? Oh, yeah. But do we have problems that we've given them? Oh, yeah. So what kind of problems we got, Dave? What are we dealing with?
Didn't see that. If you got any particular problems, Sharon, send them in. That's what we're here for. We want to help you. Steve Brady's watching from Delto, Colorado. 40 degrees, 6 inches of fresh snow. Julie says, are miniature donkeys easier to train than a large donkey? I have a mini. I know one thing. It's not easier getting down on the ground training from your knees. I know that. But beyond that, Steve, is there anything mentally that makes it more difficult?
No, not really. Here's one of the downsides, folks. If you breed for a miniature and you bred to a Shetland, usually Shetland ponies. At one time, they had a big market for them. They were going like crazy, but they got the nastiest attitude, and sometimes that goes along with a donkey they may have bred to, and with a nasty attitude, and then you go from there. No, they're no different. They're no easier. Does it take a little bit more time because they're lower than you? No. Or if you're short like me, maybe it works out pretty good. But no, just train them just like I do in my videos. You'll do just fine.
Very good. Let's see here. Michelle is watching from Ohio. Cold 30 after some days in the 60s, so that's a shock to the system. Polly says she got her coffee and it is great. Cheers. Linda is watching. I've heard mules cannot breed because of uneven chromosomes. I don't know what the reason is, but they can't breed. Is that the reason, Steve?
Well, they have fun trying.
Look at this guy right here.
I can tell you that I used to use my wife's mule, Stacy, to tease my Jack because she was a floozy. She would come around and he would just be going, oh, hey, looky here. How about you? He didn't know that she couldn't be bred, but he didn't care. Only thing he knew is the plumbing was correct and therefore get the job done. So when I would turn her tail around and she would go to switching and she would go to squealing, it made Mr. Jack really happy, okay? And he would say, oh boy, and I could tell by some other parts that were changing that he was happy about that, you know? A mare mule will stand for a Jack. And there has been some mare mules that have produced a real mule. Notice I said mule, not donkey, not horse, another mule. The first one that's most famous is called Blue Moon. Get a chance, pick it up on the internet and read about it. It's called Blue Moon, like once in a blue moon, okay? And Blue Moon had it. Now, there was a mule in Colorado about 5 years ago that produced a mule baby. Now, you have to have that Jack every time one of these has been produced, which has been less than half a dozen times that I know about. They've always had a Jack breed the mare mule. It was a pasture breeding, which never should have happened. But after they did, listen to this, after they did a DNA testing, they could tell that the chromosomes were there in the mare mule and they were not there in the baby. And so you got to have those chromosomes. Will the mare mule stand for a Jack breeding her? Yes. He will stand there through the whole process. She will stand there through the whole process. And go through the motions, but not have the baby. Okay, so there you are, folks.
Let's see here. Duh. Okay, Fiery Waco says, is there a website with pictures that might make conformation clearer? Steve, what would you say here for Fiery?
You know, there are some stuff out there for horses. Now, understand, like those draft horses are in the picture that Levi had sent us to us, that is going to be a different rump and a different way the legs are going to actually come closer together, because that type of a horse uses hindquarters a lot. So it's also going to have a lot to do with the breeding. But basically, folks, it's like this. Look at the hooves with your mule standing square. Both feet in the front standing square. Both feet in the back standing square. Now, if looking at the back end of the mule, as it's coming off of the hip, comes down around the hock, is the hock directly underneath the hip, or is the hock sticking back behind the hip? Look at the feet. Are the feet turned out like this? Or are the feet straight? Or are the feet turned in? I'm going to tell you this, folks. You're going to look at your mules and other people's mules, and other ones are going, his legs are crooked because his feet are crooked. Why is that? I tell you all this. Remember this. Get it in your mind. Get it in your mind that balance is extremely important. When you balance a foot, it is going to take the bones going up, and the legs are going to be straighter, because it's just like your tires, folks. If your front end isn't lined properly, you're going to have uneven wear on your tires. If the hooves are crooked, okay, too far out, too far back, up and down. If they are crooked, turned out, turned in, too far out, too much straight up and down, if they are not balanced right, you're going to have crooked legs. And I'm going to tell you that I have only known of a couple mules that were good and straight. One of them happened to be my wife's mule, Stacy. We got the mule as a 2-year-old. The owner of the mule, before we purchased it, did good balance and trimming, and the legs were very good. She got a lot of awards for her conformation. But let's go on. Folks, rarely is there a conformation out there that's any good on a mule. Most of the time they're hocked, which means that the hocks are together, too close. They're banging. You would never want that on a show horse, okay? You would never want that when you start showing in conformation, okay? I always kind of laugh to myself when I watched a judge who was a quarter horse judge the majority of the time, judging the horse, the donkey or the mule according to their thoughts of a quarter horse, or a gaited judge judging mules and donkeys. That's a different bone structure on all of these, okay? So let's go back. The feet, folks, must be balanced. They must have shoes on to keep from contracting the heels. This is the front. This is the back heel. And you're going to see one or the other or both in. That's contracted heel. When they should look like this all the way around. Your front legs and your back legs, your feet should be conformed correctly. The only way you can keep that done, folks, is to do it this way. Only way is to put shoes on and do corrective shoeing. Will it help a 5-year-old to get his legs back straight? No. Okay. Will they start wearing shoes and feet more correctly? Yes. Okay. But here's the big thing. When it comes down to your mule pumping blood up and down that leg, when you have a contracted heel, that is pushing on what? The frog. Here's the frog. Remember, it's pointed. And when that heel pushes on this frog, what happens to the frog? It becomes smaller. It becomes tighter. It's not big and happy and fluffy, pumping blood up and down the leg. Oh, well, I've been told you don't have to shoe a mule. Yeah, well, you better listen to somebody else. Go talk to a farrier that knows what he's talking about. And I've talked to a few of them over the years. Yeah. And I also taught the classes at Pierce College in LA, but let's go on. It's imperative you keep them shod because the donkey foot is the worst hoof you can get in the equine world. And that donkey foot is prevalent in the mule, especially on the quarters, easy to crack. Now, what do we do during the wintertime? What do? We trim them as short as we can. We keep them trimmed as short as we can, so that way snow and mud does not pack up inside there. Trim them short, okay? They'll have to walk on a frog. Make sure they're balanced. Their feet, front and rear, should be the same angle as the shoulder. Same angle as the shoulder. Not too far pointed out, not straight up and down. Same angle as the shoulder. The shoe, you should be able to see the outside edge of that shoe all around. No farrier needs to be filing the outside of the hoof unless he is doing corrective shoeing. In other words, if the foot is crooked, you're going to have a lot of extra foot over here. So yes, we're going to rasp it off to bring the foot back straight. Yes. Otherwise, you should see, looking down on the hoof, you should see the outside edge of that foot all the way around. You should be able to take a nickel and go all the way around that hoof, so that it sets balanced on there. So there's the whole picture. Okay. I wish there were pictures out there, but remember, some of you got quarter horse mules, some of you got gaited mules, some of you are supposed to be gaited, but you didn't really buy a gaited mule. Another story. You got the idea. Percheron, Belgium, they have different types of conformation. Okay, when it comes down, especially to the back legs. So there we are, Dave.
All right. Let's see here. Daryl is watching from Birmingham, 75. Michelle says, if you buy a well-trained mule, would you still start with the mule rider's martingale?
Absolutely. Hey, Dave, in my lifetime, I have probably seen, and I'm 72, y'all, I've seen maybe a half a dozen pretty fair-trained mules. Fair-trained mules, okay? But it took a good rider to make the mule look good. I knew a guy, and he was awesome. He called his mule Horse. And he went and competed up in Canada with his mule, and he beat those horses up there time and time again with his mule. Not only was he an incredible rider, but the mule was well trained. He could literally ride that mule off his legs and stand with his arms the whole time, sitting on that saddle, and the mule would stop, go, run, canter, do everything. And you never seen his hands come off being folded. He could do all that work cattle. You hear that? He could do a reining pattern. He would go through a trail course, and he intentionally kept his hands up here just to show you that mule understood leg cues. Okay? And it's not hands. Hands are your biggest problem. We don't use them light enough. But have I seen a well-trained mule? Nope. Where would I start? I wouldn't try to start with the Martingale. I would start with ground communication kit. Remember the picture of Levi? Is Levi got back to us yet?
I haven't seen it yet, but as soon as I see it pop up, I'll tell you.
Okay, well, here's the deal. Ground communication. What's so important about ground communication? You see that lead rope? When you learn how to pick up that lead rope and the mule does everything you ask it to do when you barely touch the lead rope, then by golly, when it comes down to the reins, we're starting to get it. We're starting to get it. Get that in your mind. That come along hitch, wherever I start the come along hitch. After the come along hitch, okay, and I've spent 6 months in the come along hitch. Everywhere I go, everything that I do, I use a come along hitch. Do you see that picture of that mule standing with nobody around it? I can't wait to see future pictures where Levi has that mule standing like that, and Levi is picking up all 4 feet. Levi is saddling. Levi is brushing everything, and that mule is not tied to a hitching post. That mule respects that come along hitch because it communicates to his nose. And if you want a mule to understand, go to the right, go to the left, back up. It's from that. Okay, there we are. So I would go from there, and then I would use the surcingle with an adjusted rope halter and do that foundation work. And then I would use the Martingale, and then I would spend 6 months minimum with the Martingale. And notice, Dave, with that Martingale in that video, there's nobody on that mule's back. Nobody. You can see it in the video. Here's this mule going around. Frank first mad, just blowing a fit because somebody had picked up the reins wrong. And I'm not going to go into detail, but anyway, I had trained that mule. It was an awesome mule. Great mule. Her name is Babe. Great mule. So let's go back. Okay. Nobody's on that mule's back, and watch that mule do everything that she's supposed to do with nobody on his back because the bit communicates correctly. The bridle is designed to set the head. The adjustment to get the nose on the vertical and the head down is there. I developed these videos, folks, to help you out. I may be gone after today. Then the Lord may call me home, you know.
Well, we hope not, but you do know that every day is a gift, and every day should not be taken for granted. So,
Right.
Here's to another one. So, great question. Thank you for taking a few minutes to answer that. Donna's watching from Shady Grove. Billy says, thanks for the wonderful Wednesdays, gentlemen. Can you recommend a good resource to learn all of the equestrian terminology? We've never been asked that question before, Steve.
Well, equestrian's a big word. All right. And we say equestrian, that could be dressage.
4 syllables.
Wow. Woo, 4 syllables.
It only took me 10 seconds to figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah. Okay. So where would I go? Go read books, look at the internet. It won't take you long to see who's telling you the truth and who's not. Okay. But I would just start, start spending time looking through the internet, watch YouTube videos. YouTube videos tell you a lot. You're going to see the difference between the horse, the mule, and the donkey. You'll see it. And you'll see folks that are trying to help. And you have to make a decision. Is that working for you or not? If it's not working for you, don't use it. Okay? So there you are.
All right. Cruising right along. Laura says, my mule gets her tongue over the bit all the time. What are your thoughts?
Okay. Number 1, Laura. What bit do you have? That's 1. What bridle do you have? That's 2. Number 3, and the most important, everybody listen, the most important, when have you had the dental work done? Are the teeth balanced? That's the next part, okay? Now, final question. Are you creating 1 wrinkle, 2 wrinkles, or no wrinkles? Tell me.
All right, let's hear Laura. Lowe, let's see. John Lowe from Dunmore, Kentucky is watching. Very gray and 32 degrees. Bob from Herman, Nebraska watching. 8 degrees windy, below 0 wind chill. What is Steve's opinion on hard hats when trail riding?
Helmets? Absolutely. Everybody should be riding on helmets, folks. You know, I've got my helmets. You all see the videos. Have I had times without a helmet? Yes. Do I ride with the helmet? A lot of times I'm riding, okay? Y'all see this right here? You see that mark? See that dent? Yeah. That dent, because I didn't have a helmet on. Yeah, yeah. That dent was the front paw of a mule. Yes. So let's go on. Yes, wear helmets. Everybody should wear a helmet. Being I'm a first responder out here at Queen Valley Fire Department, I can tell you that when you have a concussion, even the slightest little bang, when you hit your head, you get into the ER right away and let them do CAT scans and this sort of thing. Wasn't there a famous movie star or something, Dave, that just died, a comedian that had hit his head and didn't think nothing about it?
Yeah, Bob Saget.
Bob Saget, you know. And folks, if he had gone to the ER, they could have saw what the problem was, okay? And they could have fixed it. Wear your helmets. I did one time, Dave, when I was in California, I was doing a demo, and I didn't know some Troxel people were out there. And Troxel is my favorite helmet, my absolute favorite helmet. I've got a bunch of them, okay? So the Troxel helmet, I took a watermelon and I stood on top of a milk carton, and I just dropped the watermelon. That's all it is, let go of it. In a very well plowed up arena. So the dirt was probably 6 inches deep, soft, as we would call soft. And it split that watermelon. Can you imagine with your head? We just ran on someone here with an ATV accident where she fell out of the back of the ATV and hit her head. Yes, she's bleeding a little bit, and head wounds do bleed a lot. But still, we sent her, we suggested that she go to the ER, she get some CT scans to make sure. So yes, wear a helmet.
Trinity's watching. -2 in north central Wyoming. Leaving Friday to head south with the mules. Excited to get a full week of working with mules. Come along ropes are loaded and ready for warm weather use. Enjoy it, Trinity. Diana from Texas is watching. Pat says, sorry I'm late, but you're here, Pat. She's watching from cloudy Indiana. Lewis is here from East Texas. Matt's watching from unreasonably warm Rhode Island. Pat asks, when using the Martingale, am I working from the ground or riding? If I got to get it ordered. There we go.
Yes, both. Folks, remember me? Here's the guy that says, do it from the ground. What you have on the ground is what you're going to have in the saddle. Don't go putting a bit in a mule's mouth and say, okay, I've got Steve's bit. By golly, here you go. Pay attention. No. Allow the mule to spend time with the bit. Pick it up, put it down. Pick it up, put it down. Get his tongue in different places. In other words, when you put the bit in, start with the snaffle bit first because it's the lighter of the two. Start from that snaffle bit first. And the mule will play with the bit. Spend time with it. Pick it up, put it down. Do not create one wrinkle. Do not create 2 wrinkles. Do not create no wrinkles. Let the mule, let the donkey, and yes, even the horse, let them show you where they are the most comfortable packing the bit. In other words, your John mules, when we look at them, this is their skull. This right here is called a canine. Back behind here are the molars, all right? This right here is the bar of the mouth. This right here are the incisors, the front of the mouth. That John mule is going to have that bit bumping on the incisor. When it does, it makes him uncomfortable. he'll move his mouth around, up and down, put his tongue over top the bit, put it under the bit. He'll mess around with it and this sort of thing. Okay? Because why? He is uncomfortable. The bit is banging on his mouth. What do? We tend to go ahead and make it tighter. Make it tighter. Make it tighter. No. Listen to the bit that's speaking to the mule, that's speaking to the donkey. Let it hang down. Let them pick it up and pack it. They'll pick it up, and you think, okay, that's where it is. No, no, no. Did he drop his head? Understand? The head is down. The mule is comfortable with what you're doing. But when they pack that bit, they pick it up and carry it, they show you where the most uncomfortable. And you're going to do it. Hear this? 3, 6, 9, 12. If the head is down, they're getting it. If the head is not down, they're not getting it.
Next question. This one comes in from Clint. Clint message says, I've got a 7-month-old mule colt that has started to kick when I'm near his back feet. How do I make him stop?
Well, probably, Clint, you got to tell me how you picked up the back foot. Okay? So here's what you do to pick up a back foot. You're going to have your left hand. This is on the left side, which is the near side. Looking from the back of the mule. Left side is the near side. Right side is the off side. Okay? When you pick up the foot, your left hand will be on the hip bone. Your right hand will go down the leg, will get a hold of the cannon bone, bring it forward first. That uncocks the hip. Now, I've got a video on that, right, Dave? Then we go straight back and over to the left. Dave can probably put a link in there showing you how I do it. Now, number one, folks, the come-along hitch is on this mule that you're going to see in this link. The come-along hitch is there because I can communicate to the mule quicker with the come-along hitch, more crisper and cleaner, because why? It communicates to the nose. And if the mule makes a mistake, I communicate by bump, bump, bump with the come-along hitch. Now watch me. When I have my left hand on the hip, that puts a little pressure on him, makes him uncomfortable. When I slide my hand down the leg and pull it forward, that uncocks the hip. Remember, he has the donkey hip bone, the donkey hip. And then I go straight back and off to the left. Notice I didn't pick the foot up and go out. I didn't do that. I come forward first toward the shoulder and uncock the hip. The mule is quiet. He's relaxed the whole time. If the mule pulls on me even the least little bit, I am going to wait until he gets comfortable. Okay? So pull the leg back, slowly, 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 slowly. Mule goes nice and slow and is happy. Donkey is happy when you pull it back and then go to the left. That's the way you do it. We're using the come-along hitch. You'll see the video here when Dave has a minute.
I put that in the comment section. Y'all can check it out. The next question that I got, this one's coming from one of our friends over on Facebook. Asked the question, I own a 10-month gelded mule, super sweet. I just want to make sure that I start him correctly. Any advice on starting this 10-month-old gelded mule?
Come along hitch, come along hitch, come along hitch. Folks, don't bother tying your babies, especially. You want to cripple a baby for life? Tie it up. Don't tie your babies. Teach them to learn how to be ground tied. Okay? Come along hitch everywhere you go. Okay? Use that. Number one, come along hitch. Not the halter, folks. Take the halter that you get in my kit, hang it on the wall for future. You should use that come along hitch the rest of the mule's life. The rest of it. You go to get your mule, go put the come along hitch, come over, drop the rope on the ground, do everything you need to do. Saddling all. And we're going to see that, Dave, on our clinic. When I have my clinic that's coming up, we're going to see us do that a lot.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll share it right now. In the next day or so, we're going to have the registration open for our April clinic. You can come as a participant, and that means you can bring your animal with you. come out to Queen Valley Mule Ranch. We got folks, hundreds of folks every year asking, when can I come out to the ranch? When can I come out to the ranch? And it is a private ranch, so it's not open to the public. We do not have a store shop. However, once or twice a year, we will open it for a clinic. And in order to come to the ranch, you have to be registered for the clinic. It's very affordable, but the information that you're going to gain, it's really priceless information. People continue to come, continue to invest themselves in the training techniques that Steve's been working on over the last 40 plus years. So, yeah, we would love to have you join us. So I've got a page right here. Steve's got to make sure that I got all the information right, because I'm one of these young whippersnappers and I move pretty quick. So he's going to make sure I got all the information right. But if y'all want to get an email with a link to sign up for the clinic, go ahead, click the link that I just put in the comment section and add your email address. If you already get all of Steve's emails, for instance, if you get a notification every single time we go live here, you're already on the list. If you have not placed an order with Queen Valley Mule Ranch, or you don't recall getting any emails from Steve, go sign up if you want to get a notification when registration opens up. Again, you can come as a participant, bring your animal. If you would like to come as a spectator, which is a hugely valuable opportunity. Matter of fact, the last time we did a clinic was about a year ago. And I don't know, we probably had about 12 participants. I think it was actually full on participants. And we had ourselves probably about 15 or 20 spectators on top of that. We spend a great deal of time in discussion. So participants love it because they can see the discussion play out with their animals. Steve will take whatever the issue is and say, all right, we're going to talk about that now. Let's go get your animal. And so we'll go, and the participant will bring their animal out of the stall most times. Sometimes we'll go into the stall, and Steve will answer those questions using the participant's animal. Spectators are allowed to ask questions. And one of the things that was really exciting the last time we got together was we had all participants down in the big arena doing individual instructions, and Steve was walking around offering instruction, but we had all of the spectators lined up around, and there were quite a few of them, and the insights that you gain from watching from that type of a far distance and seeing all of the different folks with different experiences, different aged animals, different ages themselves. We had some kids that were all the way down into their early teens. Matter of fact, I think we may have had one girl who was a preteen and had folks all the way into their 70s. So it's a lot of fun. Go to the link that I just put in the comment section if you want to get an email as soon as registration opens up. We'll try and get that done here before the end of the week, and it will fill up quick. So the participant spots always sell out. They always do. It fills up real quick. So if you know start talking about it now. If you know that that's something that you want to do, April 8, 9, and 10. The 9 and the 10th are the dates of the clinic, and there's an optional Q&A clinic. It's going to be much like this, but it's going to be live with Steve on Friday that you can come if you want to. So April 8, 9, and 10. Y'all can make the decision now if you want to go, and as soon as registration opens up, you can jump on it, because like I said, those participant spots will be gone. Let's go back here. Let's make sure we got everyone taken care of today. Let's see here. Let me scroll back here. Fiery says, I need a come along tequila. Don't we all? TJ is watching from South Carolina. Mark is watching from Virginia. Tonda says, what do you do for a Molly that's 9 months old and nippy? Steve, it's 4:05. Do you have a few minutes to answer a few more questions?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do the 10, 15 second Steve Edwards answer when we can. All right. I know it doesn't exist. Let's see if we can make we can birth something new here.
There we go. Okay. Nippy means the mule is just trying to be playful with you. All right. When they latch on to you, they're not being playful. They're wanting to hurt you. So nippy's not unusual. Now, why are you letting them into your space? Yeah, that's right. Why are you letting the mule into your space? He should never come into your space. You are allowed to be in their space, i.e. the shoulder not the nose, not the hip. The shoulder is your neutral place. You can go to their shoulder, you can be in their space. They're not allowed to come here. If they come into your space, it's your fault. You deserve to be bit. Oh, I hate to say that, but yeah. Okay. Now, when they come into your space, as they're coming in, they want to say, "Hey, how are you, buddy? How are you doing?" They want to be petted and scratched and everything. I understand. Okay. But a mare mule who is the leader, a mare horse that is a leader, is not going to allow that baby to come into their space. And you shouldn't either. When they're coming in, kick a little dirt toward them. It's going to take some time in on your part. Kick a little dirt toward them. They're going to stop and look at that dirt, like, why'd that dirt move? And you immediately get right to the shoulder. That way you come into their space. They don't come into yours. Now, if you got the lead rope in your hands, you got that come along hitch, you just give it a little move and it'll get out of your space. Never ask the mule, the donkey, the horse to come into your space.
Rhonda's watching from Waynetown, Indiana. Vicky's here from Virginia. Glad to have you all here. Linda says, if a mule is gaited, does that mean the mare horse was gaited?
Okay, get this in your mind, folks. There are very few gaited mules out there. Folks call them gaited because they don't know any better. Okay, you usually, the mare does have the gaited part, the animation. So you buy a Tennessee walking mare, yeah, she's going to be very animated in her front end. You will be able to see it walking on the lead line. If she's truly animated, truly a Tennessee walker, you will see the animation in the front end. If you see a Paso Fino, you will truly see it in the front end, barely leading them on a lead rope. If you see a foxtrotter, you will see the animation there as well, front and rear on a foxtrotter. You understand? Quarter horse, you're going to see the way they walk. Now, is quarter type. Now, here's the deal. Watch your donkeys walk. They have a natural single foot. That natural single foot goes into the riding animal, the mule that you're riding. That's why the mule says it's a nice ride. The single foot that comes from the donkey goes into the mule. Okay. You folks are spending a lot of money for a quote gaited mule. When number one, you don't need a gaited mule. If you're a trail rider, listen, most of the folks you have riding with you can't go that fast. Oh, I got a gaited mule. Look at me go. Well, yeah, but everybody else has got to be able. You folks, when you go riding, you go trail riding, you ride to the least knowledgeable rider. I always told my apprentices, when you train one as if my mom is going to ride that mule. You hear that? There you go, Dave.
Awesome. Andrea's watching from Montana. Laura says, I've been told that mules are very weather handy. Curious to your thoughts on if you ever blanket them. Steve, there's no real need. They just stand out there. They're fine. It makes us feel better, but they're okay without it.
Yeah, if you ever take a frozen blanket off of a mule, it's not a fun job. Okay. The mule will do just fine. If the mule needs to eat, he'll go eat. If he needs to drink, he'll go drink. If he needs to get out of the weather, he'll find a tree to climb under, all right? Or a building or whatever. They know what they need. We put our feelings on these mules and donkeys, and therein lies the problem.
All right, let's see here. Billy is watching. What's the most unique looking mule you've ever seen, Steve?
Unique. Conformation wise, Azores. A zonkey.
Yeah.
So it's a zebra that's bred to a donkey, and it looks up. It's pretty unique looking.
Yeah, they're pretty. They're beautiful.
Yep.
That zebra side comes out though. They're nasty things.
I can't think of the name of it, but maybe some of our mule people, donkey people can know it. It's where that Noah's Ark was built, and it's the same people that that had to do with the Noah's Ark that was built in Kentucky, and had to have this deal. It's biblical how they had how the beginning of the earth went and went on through there. I can't think of the name of that place. It's right on the Kentucky Idaho border. Anyway, they got a Zorse and a Zonky there, or did have. You know.
Billy, thank you much. Hey, Susan Callahan is watching, stuck in Phoenix, waiting to testify at a federal trial. Glad I found this feed today. Glad you're here, Susan. Michelle is watching from Montreal. That means we've gone international again, at least once more before the end of the day. Rhonda says, should I worm my mule just once a year? Isn't it in the spring that you worm the mule?
Yes. Yep. Once that frost is pretty much gone, and we're starting to see some green grass pop, it's time to worm them.
Steve, will your packer pad slip out when I'm packing like the one I'm using? This is from Lane. Steve, cold, dry, and Central Oregon. Will your packer pad slip out when packing like the one I'm using?
It will slip out if you over tighten the front cinch.
The one here's what he's saying. The one he's using is slipping out. Is yours going to slip out? I think that's how he was saying it. I just read it wrong.
When mine slips out, it's usually because the front cinch is too tight. The back cinch has to be the tightest. That's why I designed the Arizona cinch. A good reason. The other reason I designed the Arizona cinch was the easy use. I would suggest you get that Arizona cinch, Lane.
All right, let's roll through the rest of these here. Yolanda's watching. Good to have you here. Jim's watching. Cowboy Ken. Rip's here. Let's see here. Andrea's watching. Says, I got a new mule and don't know what the previous owner used for a bit. What do you recommend I start with? Ground foundation starting first. The Come Along Rope Problem Mule video. Then once you get through building your foundation, then you can begin looking at the Mule Riders Martingale with the surcingle training and getting that nose on the vertical. And once you get that, then you would go to the trail rider bit. Is that about how you would do it, Steve?
You're awesome, Dave. Good job.
All right, I'll teach this clinic coming up here in May or April. You and Susan can take a break. Rhonda's watching. Mark is watching. Using a Cinch Decker pack saddle with the breast collar and breeching. Would that be okay on a mule, or should I only use double cinch?
Always use a double cinch. Listen, when we went to Bishop for the first time with the Grand Canyon, they said we couldn't pack with our sawbucks, and you only have to use Deckers. And we said, well, it's not in the rules. It says, packer saddle. Anyway, we said, okay, whoever wins, then yep, we're going to say that Decker saddle was the best, or yep, that sawbuck was the best. Now, that's the first time our mules have been to town from Grand Canyon. They'd never seen 10,000 people. They'd seen a lot of people. They hadn't done it. Long story short, we lost bad, really bad, And they all laughed and said, yeah, we should have had Deckers. The next year, they couldn't beat us. None of them, okay? We used my Arizona cinch for one thing. Yes. It's important, folks, on a pack saddle, the back cinch is the most important. Now, you'll see that you packers see that I designed an Arizona cinch, and we're going to see more of that when we do the clinic. I'm going to demonstrate the pack saddle and the cinch so that you all get an idea how I come about how to fit the saddle to the mule. But we'll see what happens when we see that clinic.
Let's see here. Susan says, can you talk about hoof abscesses? Having issues with my Molly right now and an abscess. It's been a really wet winter in Michigan.
Yes. Well, therein lies the problem, folks. That's why I tell you to shoe really tight. Your farrier may even draw a little bit of blood because you're gonna tie them as short as possible. Now, abscess can come a lot of ways. It can come from catching a stone roam and creating a problem there. It could be something that they even a bacteria. It could be from that too. But abscesses. The only way to really fix that, for as far as I'm concerned, is to take and put a shoe on it with a rubber pad and use there's a lot of different medications that you can use, but you pack it full of the medication, put the rubber pad on, put the shoe on, and then keep the mule foot dry.
Tanya's watching. Good to have you here, Tanya. Robin is watching. James is here watching. Michelle is watching. Hey, Linda the Mule Servant and Theo the Sweet One-Eyed Mule are a little bit late, but they are here. Steve, do you recommend pulling the wolf teeth?
Wolf teeth always pull. They're up in the top, folks, up here. Always pull them. Not the canines on a John mule, but always pull the wolf teeth. Absolutely.
So Julie's got a question on the 3, 6, 9, 12 mean. And what that is real quick, Julie, is I'll tell you. So the way Steve has us train is when we're getting out there and we're trying to get a mule or donkey to perform a certain action, whether it is to step forward, whether it's to get them to step backwards, whether it's to get them to turn on the hindquarters, whatever it is, you don't want to just train endlessly. And so the 3, 6, 9, 12 is just a simple prompt for you to get out there. So let's say that you want to teach the mule to step forward when there's just a little bit of pressure on the nose. You've got the come along rope wrapped around the back of the head and then right here. And so it's just 3 fingers above the nostril. And you go ahead and you tell, and you just kind of put a little bit of pressure on that come along rope. If the mule goes forward 1 step, that's 1. And so then you go ahead, you do it again, and you pull just a little bit of pressure. If the mule goes forward, that's 2. And if he does it one more time, that's 3, and you're done, and you stop. And then you can come back a couple days later, and you can do it, and then you do it 6 times. Now, if he messes up, you start back over. So you do 1, and then 2, and then 3, all the way up to 12. When he does 12, that means you've got a good foundation in that area. Doesn't mean you won't come back to it, but it means you got a good foundation in that area. You can move on to something else. And you can do other things, in exchange there. But that's what the 3, 6, 9, 12 means. Did I hit that correct, Steve?
Very good. And we also talked about it in the very beginning when I talked about the head drop and no trip to the left.
Yep. So go back, watch the beginning there, Juliana. Let's see here. Linda says, did you talk about the question from last week about throwing or bundling a mule or donkey? I really want to hear what Steve thought. I don't remember that one, Steve. I was kind of flustered last week. Do you remember?
I don't.
Linda, if you remember what that is, go ahead and put that in here. If we don't get it today, we'll get it next week. Michelle says, thanks for all the good Wednesday evenings. Jennifer says, what's the best mule show sale to see the most mules in one place? Thanks, Jennifer.
Jennifer, there depends on what part of the country you're from. You'll see all kinds of mules, all kinds of people riding, all kinds of things. And get a chance, spend time, watch some of the things that I do, and then take that information and go watch these people. One of the things I used to do with my students at Pierce College in LA is we would spend the week doing the training and stuff. Then we go watch people at mule shows. I can't tell you what particular mule show to go to. I can tell you that there's a lot of horse folks that are starting to become mule folks because of the economy the way it is, because horses have gone down the tube for prices. So I do.
Very good. Let's see here. Hey, Jennifer, come on out to Arizona. Come on out to the clinic. You'll see a lot of good mules right there, and you'll learn a thing or two as well. Susan says, what's the cost to participate for 3 days? So, Susan, it'll be $450 to participate with your animal. And then if you want to come, if you're a participant and you want to come on Friday night for an extra session, it's only $50. So that's the cost. All of the details will be on the pages when we send them out. Would love to meet you, Susan. That'd be pretty awesome. We feed you lunch on Saturday and Sunday. You get an opportunity to the store is open, and a lot of folks really enjoy going through the store and seeing everything in person. We know we can get you the right equipment through the mail. Most of y'all know this, but it is pretty cool to be able to have you right there and get to answer questions and experience and try. It's a really neat thing. Steve used to travel the country doing this sort of thing. And just what with, just different lifestyle now. Doesn't have to do that with all that we've been able to do online. Still reach a lot of people and help them. But it is cool to open up the store at the ranch 1 or 2 times a year. So it'd be great. Tonda says, booked at an equine affair in Columbus, Ohio that weekend. You know what, Tonda? If you want us to come out to the equine affair in the future, make sure you tell them about that, because that's what they want to hear. They want to hear from. They don't want to hear from us. They want to hear from y'all. That's what they want. Michelle is watching. Karen is watching. My mule is out of a Tennessee Walker. She will pick a gait sometimes, only when riding with a gaited horse. But Steve is right on a mule. Their ride is good. Thank you, Karen. Michelle says, Dave, you are getting so mully. What is mully? Mully.
I think your ears are getting longer.
They probably are. Does mully mean better and better looking? Because I'll take that all day long. Kat says, Steve, watching from Janesville, California. How wide is the mule rider's martingale bit?
It is 6 inches.
6 inches. There we go.
Hey,
yeah.
Folks, width means nothing on a mule. Don't go getting a horse idea. Oh, it's going to be too big. Oh, it's going to be too small. I use the same bit for almost 30 years, folks, on every kind of imagined mule you can imagine. Every kind of mule. It works perfectly when it's used correctly.
Muley. Michelle said, I'm getting kind of muley. Thank you very much, Michelle.
Your ears are getting longer.
Appreciate that. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Last question. Linda says, is it okay to throw your mule as a discipline to show dominance?
Don't do that. That's ridiculous.
There you go, Linda.
I have a very bad. I'm not very happy with people who lay down mules. Okay, everybody thinks it's really cool. All right, you try and lay on your belly. Have somebody climb on your back, and you try to get up. Have your kids even do it and see how tough it is. Okay, is your spine going to pop out? Oh yeah. Are you going to knock out vertebrae? Oh yeah. Discipline a mule, throwing him on the ground, folks. I used to do it all the time. Ask my wife. She was unhappy with me. Not only if they didn't pay attention, I throwed a tarp over him and I took a 2x4 to him, Dave. You know, I was a bad guy. You don't need to throw him, folks. You just need to use common sense. You don't need to be forceful. You don't need to you just made me mad.
Uh-oh, Linda.
Good question, though. I do not suggest for anybody to throw a mule, especially for discipline, okay? If there's a discipline problem, it's usually the rider that's the problem or the handler that's the problem.
She says, I had a farrier try to throw my donkey by the hind leg. Not only would she not go down, we couldn't work on her hind leg for 10 years. Yeah, I'll bet that. Now, I wonder if that's what my little 5-year-old has been trying to do. Throw me down on the ground to show some sort of a dominance. Little Stevie trying to assert himself. Yeah. Hey, Steve, let's give away some coffee.
Hey, I got the coffee here. Yeah.
There you go.
Notice it's the demand.
This is the demand coffee.
When you win, you get this bag, and I will send it to you tomorrow morning. All right? Now, Dave, what's so different about this coffee? Well, the big thing is, folks, it's ground. It is roasted and then shipped off that day. When you smell this coffee, it's like smelling my wife.
Pure delight.
Yes, pure delight, okay? This coffee is awesome. Now, I prefer the bean because I like to grind my coffee and have it fresh that morning. If it's ground, air is going to get to it, and it's not going to be as tasty as the bean that's tasted. And also, Dave, try this sometime. I learned this in Brazil.
All right.
Take some coffee beans and just chew down a few.
Okay.
The beans. I mean, it's good. Come on, baby, like my
slam them. All right, so the way this works, folk, is Steve is going to ask a question. Now, I've got YouTube and Facebook comments here in front of me. So it may show up in a different order on your screen, but we're going to do it by my screen. All right? So Steve is going to ask a question. I'm going to give it a few seconds for everybody to go ahead and answer. And then I'll take a look at the answers. And the first one that gets it right on my screen, Scout's honor, First one that gets it right on my screen gets the bag of coffee. Steve, what's our question?
Okay, here's the question. When you put the bridle on a mule, how many wrinkles does it have in the corner of the mouth? But when you first, listen to this, when you first put the bridle on.
All right, folks. When you first put the bridle on, how many wrinkles does it create in the mouth? All right, we've got 3 answers here so far. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see if we get any more answers here. 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I think we're good. All right, Steve, I'm going to read them out, and you tell me. We've got 2. We've got 1. We've got, let's see here. We've got none. Those are the 3 answers we got. 2, 1, none. What's the answer?
All right, here it comes. When I put a bridle on the morning to ride, that bridle is hanging down loose. No wrinkles. I wait. I watch the mule. He picks it up and he holds it where he likes it. At that time, I adjust the bit. I never, ever put on a pre-adjusted bridle. The mule always shows me every day where the bridle is the most comfortable to him. So when I take it off, I loosen it up 2 notches. Now it's really hanging loose. I take it off. Mule's head down, mule's nose to the left. Now, when I put it on the next day, or when I ride a week later, when I put it on, I've loosened it 2 notches. I watch the mule. I wait. The mule picks it up, puts it down, picks it up, puts it down, gets his tongue over top of it, all that stuff. But pretty soon he gets quiet, picks it up and holds it. I adjust it to that spot. I never, ever, ever put on a pre-adjusted bridle. The mule always shows me where he's the most comfortable. Take time to talk to your mules, folks. Your donkeys, you'll be happy.
So congratulations to Michelle Butler. Michelle, you are the winner. The first person today to answer correctly how many wrinkles when you put the bit on, how many wrinkles you got there. The answer is none. The animal will show you where he wants to carry the bit. And if you have never practiced it like that, like Steve's describing right here, do it. You will see, as I have seen, and as you will see if you come out here for the clinic, you will see that they will show you. It might take them a bit, but they will show you where they want to carry it. I know nothing, and I know that what I saw was exactly what Steve described there. So that's it, folks. Michelle, send a message to steve@muleranch.com. Put the address where you would like for him to ship off your Come Along coffee to. Folks, if you would like your own bag of Come Along coffee, I'm putting a link in the comment section right now. Y'all can go purchase it. It's going to be shipped out fresh. You're going to love it. And then finally, if you want information, registration information for the clinic that we're going to do April 8, 9, and 10. Friday is optional. Saturday and Sunday are the full clinic days. Go to the subscribe link that I just put in the comment section, add your email, and as soon as Steve gives me the thumbs up, I'm going to send out registration information. Spectators will have room for as many as y'all want, but participants, those are going to fill up right away. So if you're thinking about it, do it. You're going to have a blast. It's so much fun. I'm going to be there. Obviously, Steve will be there. Susan is just an amazing host, prepares a fantastic lunch with wonderful, wonderful, wonderful desserts. Save your cheat days. Save 3 of them, or 2 of them for Saturday and Sunday. Save 2 cheat days. Come on out to Arizona, hang out with us. Steve, anything you want to say before we're all done?
Well, the last thing I want to say about the clinic, folks, is you all know that I don't travel the United States anymore, okay? And I probably won't be doing much flying when it comes to other countries, but we'll see. I'm always wanting to go help the mule and donkey, but this clinic is going to be very special. Now, don't just show up and just say, all right, I'm going to be a spectator. Don't do that. I'm going to say, see you later. There's the gate. You must be pre-registered spectator or participant. You must be pre-registered or you can't come through the gate. Okay. Don't make me feel sorry for you. All right. Follow the instructions, please. Take and fill out the necessary information. I need to know how many people. Okay. Now, as far as other clinics, Dave, Equine Affair, one of my favorite places. I love Equine Affair. Other clinics, folks, if you want me to fly in to those particular states and do a clinic, you know Steve is ready. I'm ready to go help you with your mules and donkeys.
Awesome. Folks, thanks for hanging out with us. Glad we were able to make it happen this week after a rough week last week. I'll tell you what, that sort of stuff gets me flustered. Y'all are super gracious. It made me kind of flustered, and I was not having my best. I was not living my best life now, but this was great. It was a lot of fun. I think we probably had about 80 or 90 people join us today for this broadcast, so that was really cool. That's one of our higher. These are always well attended in the replays. Folks love the replays, but as far as live, we usually get about 50 or 60 people. Today, I think we were closer up to about 80 or 90, and that's real cool. So be sure, tell all your friends. We would love to continue this show and get as many people watching. So we'll see you guys next week. Be on the lookout for that email and hope to see you in April out at the ranch. God bless everybody.